You meet someone who feels like home, but your chest tightens, your thoughts race, you rehearse every word before you speak, every text before you send it. And beneath the excitement, there's that familiar ache, a quiet fear that it's only a matter of time before they leave. You want closeness, but your body braces for loss. You crave love, but it feels like danger, because somewhere along the line, your nervous system learned that love and anxiety are the same thing. Maybe it started early, maybe love came in unpredictable waves, warm one moment, cold the next. A parent whose mood you learnt to read like weather. You never knew if you'd be met with affection or silence, tenderness or withdrawal. So you adapted. You became hyper-aware, scanning for shifts in tone, facial expressions, size, silence. You built your safety not from stability, but from anticipation. You learned to survive in the tension between wanting love and fearing the moment it disappears. This is the root of anxious attachment. It isn't a flaw, it's a body that remembers inconsistency and tries to control it. It's a heart that never stopped hoping the next time would be different. You didn't become clingy because you wanted too much. You became that way because love was rationed out like oxygen. You had to monitor every breath just to make sure it wouldn't run out. As you grew, that pattern became invisible, a way of being. You started mistaking intensity for intimacy, chaos for connection. You were drawn to the people who felt familiar, not safe, but known. The ones who made you chase, question, earn, perform. Because somewhere deep down, the nervous system equated love with effort. It believed peace was a prelude to loss, that calm meant disinterest, that distance meant danger. So you sought the spark, the ache, the uncertainty, because that's what love had always felt like. Anxious attachment is a quiet war inside the body. You want to trust, but every silence feels like rejection. You want to rest, but the mind won't stop scanning for danger. You analyze every pause in conversation, every delay in reply, every change in tone. You overthink not because you enjoy it, but because the child inside you still believes that vigilance keeps love alive. There's a moment, though, often in adulthood, when this pattern begins to reveal itself. Maybe after another relationship collapses under the weight of unspoken fear. Maybe after realizing you're always the one reaching, apologizing, over-explaining. You start to notice the exhaustion, how much energy it takes to hold on to people who never make you feel secure, how much you confuse anxiety with connection, how much you've mistaken survival for love, and that's when something begins to shift. Not quickly, not dramatically, but quietly. You start to see that your anxiety around love isn't proof that something's wrong with you. It's evidence that you were never shown what safe love feels like. You were taught to brace instead of breathe, to chase instead of receive, to stay alert instead of stay present. Healing this doesn't mean you stop wanting love. It means you stop trying to earn it through fear. It means learning to soothe the parts of you that panic when things are calm. It means realizing that peace isn't the absence of love. It's what love was supposed to feel like all along. But it's not easy. The nervous system resists peace because it feels foreign. Stillness can feel like abandonment. Kindness can feel suspicious. You might find yourself pulling away from people who treat you well, simply because they don't activate the chaos you're used to. You might think something's missing, when really it's just safety, and your body doesn't yet know how to trust it. So you practice, you start small, you learn to stay present with yourself when the anxiety rises. Instead of asking, how do I make them stay? You start asking, what part of me is afraid right now? You begin to parent the younger you, the one who learned to equate love with instability. You let them know they're safe now. You remind them that they don't have to chase, that consistency isn't a trick, that you can be chosen without begging for it. Healing anxious attachment isn't about finding someone who never triggers you. It's about building the inner safety that helps you stay grounded when they do. It's learning that you can feel the wave of fear and still choose not to act from it. It's learning to separate the past from the present, the memory from the moment. You begin to notice the difference between love and adrenaline, between longing and alignment, between someone who soothes your nervous system and someone who spikes it. And one day, that difference stops feeling confusing. You stop mistaking chaos for chemistry. You stop calling inconsistency passion. You stop performing for approval and start practicing reciprocity. Love stops being a test. It becomes a mirror. It reflects how much you've grown, not how much you can endure. And somewhere in that stillness, something sacred happens. You realize that love was never supposed to hurt like this. It was never meant to be a guessing game or a survival test. Love was supposed to be a home, not a battlefield. When love finally feels safe, it feels quieter. Not because it's boring, but because your body isn't in crisis anymore. You no longer need the highs and lows to feel alive. You can breathe, you can rest, you can receive without performing. And that's when you understand, love was never anxiety, love was always peace. You just had to unlearn the storm to recognize it. But healing isn't a single sunrise, it's 1,000 small dawns breaking quietly across the same sky. It happens the day you stop explaining your needs to someone who doesn't listen, and instead start listening to yourself. It happens the night you cry without trying to make sense of it, without labeling it as progress or regression, just letting it be a release. It happens in the still moments, brushing your teeth, driving alone, sitting in silence, when your body begins to trust that safety doesn't need to be earned. At first, it feels disorienting. You might miss the rush of anxiety, the way it made you feel alive. You might even mistake calm for emptiness, because you've lived so long on emotional adrenaline. But slowly you realize that peace is not boring, it's sacred. It's the feeling of no longer negotiating with your own worth. You learn to love differently, not from fear, but from fullness. Love that doesn't demand performance or self-abandonment. Love that allows you to be imperfect and still chosen. You stop searching for people who mirror your wounds and start seeking those who honor your healing. The ones who don't confuse silence for distance or independence for disinterest. The ones who remind you that love can coexist with ease. And when the old patterns whisper, because they always do, you know how to answer. You breathe, you place a hand on your chest and say, "We're safe now." You don't rush to fix the discomfort or silence the fear. You meet it like an old friend who no longer controls you. Because healing isn't the absence of pain, it's the presence of compassion for the parts of you that once had no choice but to survive. One day, you'll look back and realize that love no longer feels like anxiety. It feels like coming home to yourself. The same warmth you chased in others, you now carry within you. And from that place, love no longer threatens your freedom. It expands it. You can finally hold someone's hand without losing your own pulse. You can stay without clinging, leave without running. That's when you understand, peace was never the absence of connection. It was the foundation for it. The quiet rhythm beneath the noise, the steady heart that waited patiently beneath the storm. And as you breathe into that calm, you realize the most profound truth of all. You were never too much to love. You were just loving in a world that hadn't yet learned what safety feels like. Now, you're teaching it, one gentle heartbeat at a time.